Hello and welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you with us. In the absence of Shawnee, joining me today will be Reta as usual as the two of us look ahead to the Everton game tomorrow at Goodison Park. It's a game that has definitely intrigued my interests and I'm sure will intrigue some of your interest. And it's an eagerly awaited one because United for once have actually gone on a significant run of games rather than winning one, drawing the next one, and then losing one, and then winning one, and just the whole inconsistent charade that has really been a big part of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's season. So we'll be having a look at that. Loads to talk about today. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Please don't forget to leave a like on the video. Please don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this kind of content, do stick around because we make these about pretty much 3 videos a week, depending on how much United play. So anyways, what do you know about Everton and how well do you think they've played this season? Tell us about their season. Give us your thoughts.
The start of the season was pretty bad under Marco Silva.
Yeah.
It just wasn't clicking with the Everton fans, the Everton players. The mood was just very dark. And the switch between managers this season, but it seems like they finally got the right combination. I mean, was it Ancelotti? Ancelotti is an experienced manager. And he just seems to let the Everton players express themselves. And they're responding well to that.
That's interesting. So the new manager bounce, something that we've spoken a lot about in the past, I suppose. And Ancelotti is obviously no stranger to football at the highest level. It actually kind of hurts me as a person who liked Ancelotti back in the day to see him managing a team like Everton. It's still a bit weird for me, actually. It's kind of like Jose at Spurs.
I think it would have been a good fit for us.
Yeah. I think so too, actually. But, you know, it's hard with managers like Ancelotti because it's almost like, I don't mean to, this is intended with no disrespect, but it's almost like trying to sign a has-been, you know, like he's at the back end of his managerial career and he's been in the game for so long that I can understand why we didn't go for someone like him. I don't know if he's the best long-term option, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. He's probably at the wrong time in his career, maybe like around the time after Fergie retired would have been a good time, but now it would just stand for everything we've done wrong, really, and we should just go for a new, up and coming manager and just move forward. No use looking backwards.
Yeah. Before we get into actually, I want to talk a bit more about Everton, and obviously then we'll get to United. But I actually forgot the press conference with Luke Shaw and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think was actually a pretty good press conference. I think that it was the one after. I'm not sure if it was the one before Bruges or after Bruges, but some comments made by Luke Shaw. Basically, he was asked about how does he deal with the scrutiny and the criticism that comes with being a Manchester United player, and I think he gave a very mature answer. I think he said something that we've been wanting to hear as fans for a very long time. He basically said that we should listen to the fans because if they're talking, then it's probably coming from somewhere, and we've got to look at that and try to fix ourselves. And I think that was a very brave thing to say, because a lot of players could come out and say, you know, I've been struggling, but I'm trying hard to get through the criticism, or, you know, I don't let it get to me or let my head get down. He could have given a cliche bullshit answer that is easy to say, but instead he's given us what we want to hear about fans. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I don't agree with all the people who come out and make it personal and attack the players. I think that's very wrong. But it is an entertainment business, and we are going to judge them. And as United fans, it does come from a place of love. Like, we love this club. We get nothing else from this club. It's not about money for us or anything like that. We just want the club to do well, and hence we will criticize the players.
Do you think some people cross lines though on Twitter? Like, do you think that, I get that criticizing players is a part of the game of football, but do you think some people perhaps take it too far? Because it's one thing to yell at your TV and it's one thing to send out a retweet, but it's another thing entirely to, you know, like week after week send out negative tweets about a specific player, and you just keep it going on and on and on and on and on. Do you think that that's a good thing? Or do you think people are well in their right to do that, even if they're not directly? Those tweets aren't directed at the player, or do you think it's something that needs to be looked at?
I think they are well in their right, but then it doesn't help with anything. It's kind of pointless. I mean, what's going on every week about the same player going to help? What is it going to change? So maybe the negativity can be toned down a slight bit, but then we do need to criticize players, because like, we do need to get a response. It is an entertainment business.
Yeah, fair play, man. So back to the football, of course. Everton, is this a winnable game for Manchester United?
It definitely is, but it's going to be the toughest test. They play some good football, and they're not very one-dimensional. Like, they drew against Arsenal last week, so I guess that's a good for us because it means they can concede. But they play in different ways. They'll park the bus if they have to. They'll counter if they have to. They'll hold the ball if they have to. And it'll be a stern test for Man United, but it's a test I think we can pass because I think we're in a pretty good position.
Do you think we're better off than when we got battered 4-0 there last year?
Way. So many departments have been fixed. Defense, much better. CDM, Match just playing again, and we know what happened last season with Match in this game. But I think he is much better. He understands the Ole style a bit more, and there's just more stability. Bruno Fernandes, more creativity, and as much as you can say maybe we had better attacking players back then, these players just are gelling better because they've been under Ole for a longer time.
Yeah, Fred is developing a bit of a relationship with Matic. It looks like they're actually starting to become a stronger duo together, which is good to see. If United win this game, do you then think Europa League and top four is possible? Or, well, actually, let's start with top four. Do you think top four is possible if we win this game now? Are you back on the top four train, or are you still like, oh, actually, I don't know. I still need to see more.
I feel like I'm edging closer to being back on the top four train, but I think if we win this game, it'll motivate me even more because it's not an easy game. Away at Goodison Park, they've always been our bogey team. So if we can win this and win it comfortably, I'll know that Ole's doing something right.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, if you're asking me, I've always been someone who looks at things pragmatically and objectively. Obviously, after a game, when you need to vent, and you may say things that you don't truly believe, but your emotions are just running wild at the time. But once you've had time to think, calm down, and rationalize your opinion, then it becomes a bit more clearer. And for me, the thing is with United in top four, I've always said it's easy to be negative, but look at all the teams around us and how inconsistent they've been this season. Look at how inconsistent Chelsea's been this season. So I think top four is always a possibility. And whether or not you think we're lucky to still be in a top four race is another conversation entirely. The point is we still are. Whether that's something you want to hear or not, we still are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be within 3 points of top four. But to say whether or not I'm jumping on the train yet, I don't know. I still need to see a bit more because I'm more on the Europa League train.
Yeah, I think both of them are possible. It's going to be hard for Ole because he has to juggle around fitness and who plays where and when, but they are possible. I think he might have to rest a little bit more players in the Europa League at the moment because we've got an easy draw. What is it? Linked or I forgot to pronounce the team, but we've got a very easy draw.
It's when United plays a no-name team, we're always. That small United fan in you from this season is still like, watch us lose this game. But for the most part, we still feel very confident in Europe, I think. I remember, I look back to the game against, was it AZ? It wasn't AZ Alkmaar. What was that other team in our group in the Europa League that we went to them and then we played crap for like 90 minutes and then scored in the last minute and won 1-0.
I forgot the name, but I remember they were quite crap.
Yeah, it wasn't Astana. Was it Astana? It was Astana. It wasn't AZ Alkmaar. It was Astana. It was Astana. Yeah. We played crap for 90 minutes against Astana, and then we somehow still won that game or drew. I can't remember what the result was, but we didn't lose. And I just think when we come up against no-name teams this late in the tournament, with guys like Bruno in the team, with McTominay back into fitness, and then you throw in Matic and Fred, I think I'm very positive about what can happen because I know man for man, Manchester United is better. There's no denying that. I mean, you can sit here and deny all you want.
A lot of so-called big teams have fallen out of the Europa League, so we have a good chance in winning the competition. I think come the league, it's all about consistency. Chelsea is falling apart, really. Spurs don't have their key players. I actually think they might lose tomorrow. So I think we're in a really good position to finish in the top four.
Yeah, definitely. Just one more thing then. This game, before we move on to the predicted XI, obviously, this game, in terms of, I think we've discussed it in the last few podcasts, but for anyone who perhaps hasn't heard us speak about it, how big is this game in context of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's season? Because I think this game's like the magnitude of how important this game would have changed dependent on whether or not we beat Watford and Chelsea. But I think now that we've beat Watford and Chelsea, I honestly think, look, I think United should win this game no matter what, but I honestly think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has leeway. And he doesn't have that much margin for error left in the season because of how difficult our start to the season was. But I think if there is a game where we can look at it and say, you know what, at least we beat Chelsea and at least we beat Watford, and let's see what happens against City, do you think it's this one?
I feel like we've had this conversation so many times because Chelsea keeps slipping up, and you're like, we're getting close, and then we lose, and you're like, it's gone, and then Chelsea slip up again, and then he's had a lot of chances, and he's still going to have chances. I feel like he's safe until there's definitely no chance for Champions League. So I don't think we can say it's a defining game.
I don't know, because in the last podcast, and Shawnee, if I'm misquoting you, I'm sorry, but I remember Shawnee saying that, we have to win this game regardless of what happens against City. We have to win this game. Like, this is the game that we have to win, and then he'll take a draw against City. And I agreed with him at the time during that podcast, because I was like, yeah, we have to beat Everton and Watford, and then I don't care what happens against City. I would like us to get a result against City, but if we need to win these two games first. But, football's a funny old game, and things can change very quickly in a short space of time. I didn't expect us to beat Chelsea, Watford, and be going into the Everton game feeling confident after beating Bruges 4-0. Yeah. I didn't expect that to happen. And so, taking all of that into consideration, I ain't going to be a flip-flop and go from, I don't know if we'll beat Chelsea to after we win 3 games, now let's win 4 in a row. Like I can't jump on that train just yet, because I haven't seen this team go on a run of games for a very long time. And this is the first run of games, and I still feel like that team is very fragile. So I just feel like I wouldn't be shocked if we lost to Everton, is basically what I'm saying. And I wouldn't be as hurt as I would have been if we lost to Watford on top of that.
Yeah. Like, we haven't had that consistency, so we mustn't just imagine that all of a sudden everything's okay now. I do think there are still holes. They fixed a lot with Bruno coming in, and fitness of the players getting better, but there are still holes. And this is the type of game that we lose away from home, a team that's going to come at us and make us uncomfortable.
Top four's looming. Yeah, dude. Definitely. So let's look at the predicted excitement. Yeah.
So
I agree.
No, before, I think Everton will be very good in transition, and they will threaten us. But I do think we have enough to get there.
Do you think they have enough in their final third to not bottle 3 or 4 chances? Or do you think we'll see the same movie again? Us. Them.
I don't think they have enough. When they beat us 4-0 last year, it was really going well for them. Players were just clicking, and they just don't have that right now. They are playing better football, but they're not amazing. And I don't think they could put 4 past us like they did last year. So I'm expecting us to win, to be honest.
Yeah, so basically from what you're saying is we'll probably see the same movie again this weekend. We'll probably have fans after the game saying, yeah, but Everton could have been 3-0 up in the first 20 minutes, and we'll be like, yeah, but by that logic we could have been 4-3 up by half time. So what are you saying, G? I feel like that's going to be the movie that we're going to see in this game. Like, they're going to get a couple of chances, they're going to bottle them, and then the game will build from there. But let's see the predicted XI then. Brought to you by Reta. Okay, I had no part to play in this starting 11. Two things that I... Sorry?
No, I'm saying this is usually Shanique's forte.
Oh yeah, this is usually Shanique's forte. But look, the reason why I don't disagree with this team is not because I don't like it. I think this team could work. I just think, based on the evidence and what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has done in games like this over the last few weeks, I feel like we might see a back 5. I know you don't want to hear it, but we might see a back 5 in this game. I'm not too sure about Igalo starting. I'm not sure what's the situation with Martial's injury. I know it is just a thigh injury, so it's not actually a hamstring injury, and it's not that serious. It's just a problem with his thigh in and around the knee area. I quote, that's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said. So I think, but I'm not too bothered about Igalo over Martial. Obviously, I'd like Martial to start, but I'm not too bothered about Igalo starting. I think if there is someone who's going to be in the right place at the right time to take a goal, against Everton, it will be him. I'm not too concerned about Greenwood playing on the right wing because that's a debate we've had many times on this channel. I'm not too concerned about James. Bruno, no problems. Fred and Matic, interesting. You know, I'm not too concerned about that, but I know there's a lot of people who might be watching this and they could be cringing because, you know, McTominay is back and everyone's hopping on the McTominay train now. And then Maguire and Lindelof in the back. I'm surprised you went with that because, you know, I thought you preferred Bailey. But I mean, the fact that Lindelof missed out means that he was being rested. So I suppose he might be brought back.
I was trying to think more of my head than my heart in this one. And as I've said before, I do think we are more comfortable with this formation. Obviously, Gallo is only there because Martial might not be. So if Martial's fit, definitely Martial. And I do think we'll get more out of the team if we're playing the three up front and with Bruno behind them. I just think there's a higher chance of us scoring that way. I just don't see a two working, especially... Okay, it can work. Let me not say that because we've seen it work against Chelsea. But especially if Martial's out, I just don't see it happening. James is horrible at it. We haven't seen Greenwood try it. And Igalo, we still don't know where we stand with Igalo. So... I'm not happy with that. Midfield-wise, look, if it was me, I probably would play Matic and McTominay because I want to see how that would go. But I know a lot of people say, how can you drop Fred because he's playing well? And some people want to see McTominay back in the team. But I think knowing Ole, he'll go with what he feels is the safest because that's what Ole does. And this pairing has played most games this season and he'll probably go with them. And then back line again. It's the safest bet. Like, Lindelof is in good form. Maguire, captain. Yeah. Shaw, defensively, is better than Williams. And, I think that's how he's going to go.
Yeah, Williams, I thought Brandon Williams would start this weekend because he hasn't played in a long while. And he should be well rested by now.
And I think
Wan-Bissaka is Wan-Bissaka.
Shaw is starting to catch momentum a little. So I think you'll go with him.
Yeah, he is. But, I mean... It's only a matter of time before Shaw gets a knock. It's only a matter of time. And I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a few positions has shown that he is willing to rotate as of late. So, you know, if we were sat here 3 weeks ago, I would have been saying, he'll probably go with... Actually, 3 weeks ago, he was going with Williams over Shaw anyways. But, I mean, he would have probably went with one player is what I'm saying. Now I just think he's more open to rotating. And bar a few positions.
It's a shame with Shaw because... We're starting to see it again. Once he gets a run of games, we can see that he's a really good player. A player who deserves to be at this level. But it's tough because he's always out.
Yeah, but with regards to Luke Shaw, like, Brandon Williams is so young that I really don't see the problem with them sharing that role. Like, I really don't see the point in playing Luke Shaw every game when Brandon Williams is in the same skill bracket, I would say, at the moment. Yeah. Maybe not in terms of experience, but in terms of skill and raw talent, he is. Whether you want to hear that or not. And I just think to preserve Luke Shaw's fitness and for the betterment of the team, Brandon Williams has to share that role with him. And for the Brandon Williams side, we can't play Brandon Williams too much either. So the easy solution is just let them share the role because neither of them can play it consistently enough to stay in the team. One of them is unfit and the other one is too young. So just let them share it.
It's a nice balance.
Yeah, it's not rocket science, you know. I feel like it's so easy with that. And they're both in form. Brandon Williams had one bad game and now he's not in the team, so it's a bit harsh. But look, rebuttal to your first point about the back five, I think if Everton play defensively, back five doesn't work. I think if Everton play open attacking expansive football for a period long enough for United to get in behind, the back five will work. Because it did work against Chelsea, and I think it worked against Chelsea because Chelsea were chasing the game and we didn't need the extra man up front as much as we normally would. I think United will play defensive regardless of the formation they play because they're away from home and we're United. But,
I think
a front three is always going to be better.
Would prefer to play on the counter, but I don't see it happening because I know we're playing Ancelotti. And Ancelotti will look at this and you will see it's not rocket science. I'm not going to come out and play expensive football. They're going to pick me apart. He's going to sit back and counter because Ancelotti is an experienced manager.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I've always said this, like, it's not that simple. It's not black and white. Like, there are two teams on the football pitch, and when one of them doesn't have the ball, the other one has to hold the ball. So I just think that for things to play out exactly how each of these managers want to play out is very unlikely. I think think the evidence is there with Manchester United. We don't hold on to the ball long enough. And when we do, we can only do something with it if the team gives us space in behind. And Everton's is more well-drilled than Bruges was the other evening. So I don't think we'll see the same performance as what we saw against Bruges. I think what we will see is United trying to be positive and then losing the ball a lot, and then Everton trying to get us in transition. But then they might also fail because they just don't have the quality up front. And so what we might end up seeing really is just a chess match for a very long time, like we saw at Old Trafford last season.
Like, we might see, but I don't want to put too much. I don't want to put too much on Bruno's shoulders, but I do think our play with the ball has improved so much with Bruno, and I do think if they do sit back, we eventually will have enough to get past them, and we'll have enough of a defense to make sure we hold them off.
Possibly. Plus Bruno will just win a penalty anyways if it doesn't work out. Manchester United, thank you very much.
Did you know we get most penalties in the Premier League?
It kind of makes sense with the way United play, though, because United play with a lot of pace and width, and they like to exploit the corners on the side. If you look at when United has won penalties this season, I can guarantee you, again, I'm not a stats man, but I do watch my team a lot. I can guarantee you, most of them, if you look at the way the screen is set up right now, most of them, you see where Igalo standing in the box, on the left side of Igalo, from that side, because Rashford used to win a lot of penalties from that side, running in from the left-hand side, turning right, and then cutting back into the box. And you would get a lot of penalties like that. Bruno, the penalty against Watford was on that side of the box. It was on the left side as well. So we get a lot of penalties from that side of the box just because of the way we play. We play with width and pace. And what happens is when you pressure a team long... What's that?
I was going to say, when we attack, we actually play quite direct. I was watching Leicester last night, and they played pretty football, but it was moved to the side too much. I was like, what are you doing? It's not the time to do that. It's the 80th minute. Just go straight and go for goal. And they could have scored, but then they wasted so much because they were going side to side, making those pretty passes, and it just never worked.
Yeah, so ever since Bruno got here, you're right, we do play more direct. And I think ever since Bruno got here, we're starting to see something behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's vision, because he said it himself in a press conference, he wants us to be quicker in transition and be more direct with the ball. And you've just said the same thing. So I think for anyone who thinks Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plan A is counter-attacking football, well, if you're going off of what you've seen this season, then you're right, mate. I ain't going to argue with you. But I'm just going off of what the man said in a press conference himself and what I'm seeing ever since he got a player who's actually capable of holding the ball and making intelligent runs off the ball. But yeah, I went on a bit of a tangent there. Look, Bruno wins a lot of penalties there because of how direct we play and the pace. The pace is the key part. When a game is at a stalemate and then out of nowhere someone just breaks in transition, it tends to lead to a lot of mistakes and a lot of rash tackles. And that's what happens at Manchester United. And people will look at the penalties and say it's luck. Well, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So you ain't going to get penalties if you're not in the box. You have to be in the box to get penalties. That's what people forget. You have to be attacking and apply pressure to force a mistake out of the defense as much as Manchester United do. So the amount of penalties we get, to me, is not a sign of how lucky we are. It's a sign of how direct and how much pace we play and how much pressure we actually apply. And you could say, and you could say it's lucky in the sense that penalties are easier to score than chances from open play. And but we still create those chances, we can't help it if teams keep fouling us. What are we supposed to do? So it would be interesting.
One can say if you didn't foul you, you're going to score.
Yeah, as well. You could say that those could have been goals as well. So it's a very null and void argument. Stats are down to interpretation, but I think some interpretations are much truer than others. And the undeniable fact is you have to be in the box to get penalties. It's in the rules. You can't get a penalty anywhere else on the pitch except for in the box. And when you're in the box and you're getting fouled, what does that tell you? It means you're spending a lot of time in the box if you've got the most penalties in the Premier League. So, we also have the second most clean sheets as well. So it means our defense is pretty good. So actually, if you're asking me, there is a few positives from the season. People love saying it's our worst season since 1989, but, who cares if there's positives and we're not.
You have to speak in the context of the season. Are they going to say that we're not in fourth?
Yeah, people are saying that people were saying that when we were in fifth anyway. So yeah, people will always do that. Like, I heard Mark Goldbridge on the United Stand saying that all these people who are saying look at the teams around us, he said bollocks. We're Manchester United. We shouldn't look at the teams around us. We should look at ourselves. And I'm like, well, yes and no. Like, yes, you should look at yourself, and yes, you shouldn't say, well, because everyone's losing, it's okay if we lose. But no, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that this season is okay because everyone else is also crap. No. Like, you don't become comfortable with playing crap football because everyone else is playing crap football. But you do say that everyone else is playing crap football, so therefore there must be a bigger picture and there must be a bigger reason why behind why the season's been so poor. Like, you can't just say Manchester United are where they are and therefore we're rubbish. Because, like, what about the teams around us? How rubbish are they that they're lower than us in a season like this? You know, like, I think you have to look at the bigger picture and recognize that although this has been one of our worst seasons, there are massive positives. It could be worse.
And like,
it could be way worse.
There are some decisions that he had to make. He had to get rid of a lot of players. And then he didn't bring in players because it just didn't work out with the board and the money. But then you can't fault him and say, but why did you get rid of all these players? It was something that had to happen anyway. So if you're going to go back to the top, you might have to make decisions that don't work out immediately, but will impact us positively going forward.
Yeah, I just think with this club and this club's football fans, there's too much short-termism. There's too much, oh, look at this bad result. Oh, look at how bad we've been in the last 10 games. It's horrible. Oh, look at this, look at that. But people fail to look at the bigger picture. Like, this guy still has a chance of winning the Europa League. He still has a chance of making top four. And if he does either one of those things, he will still be here in May. There has been a drastic improvement since he got Bruno Fernandes. Imagine if we just bought more players in other positions and improved our team. You can't tell me that buying Jadon Sancho, someone like Jadon Sancho, someone like Jack Grealish won't improve this team, because we've seen the impact that someone like Bruno has had. You cannot tell me that if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does not get better players, we won't see a better overall improvement in the team. And as I've said many times before, if your grudge with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer comes down to his style of play, I've got nothing to say to you, because that's your preference as a football fan. If you're about pretty football first, results later, I've got nothing to say to you. Me and you can't have a conversation. But if you're a person who says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer cannot do X, cannot do A, cannot do B, you know, like, you're going to have to give it time whether you like it or not, because he's going to be here until things go seriously wrong, and they haven't yet. He's still in the top four race. He's still got a chance of Europa League football. So we'll just have to wait and see. And you're wasting your energy. You know, like, it's not going to help anything. I think just give him till May. Just give him till May, and let's see where we are as a club. Let's see what happens over the next few months in the Europa League, you know? Because if he wins the Europa League, I think some people are a bit extreme saying that they'll never back Oli. If he wins the Europa League and he finishes 5th or 4th, what's the problem?
Yeah, like, what do you want?
What do you want? What do you want? And again, I'm not talking to you who wants Freddy football. You know, I can already feel someone cringing while listening to this little rant.
Maybe Shin is cringing.
Possibly. Actually, he always cringes when I talk about Oli, because he thinks I'm pro Oli, and I'm not pro Oli. I'm pro United, and sacking Oli at the moment won't make a difference. Like, I was actually speaking to Shoni off air, and he said I would love to see someone like Ranieri come in as a short-term manager and as an interim, and I'm like, that's not realistic. Like, someone like Claudio Ranieri is not going to come as an interim. Interims usually come from within the club. Like, that's what an interim is. An interim is someone who's just going to come in until you find a solution. Well, if we have an interim till now in March or till now in May, things aren't going to improve that much. You're not going to see a drastic change in the football. And even if you do, what does it mean? Because we've seen this before with Oli. Like, you don't learn from your mistakes if you're a person who genuinely wants an interim. Like, I don't want to see Carrick, McKenna, or Phelan in a tracksuit with their thumbs up on the side at the side of Old Trafford, and we're singing McKenna's at the wheel, Phelan's at the wheel, Phelan. No, we cannot have that. Seriously, we cannot have that for 3 months. So I just think, give it till May. What is the problem if he wins Europa League? You know how many coaches don't win the Europa League? Most of the coaches in the world of football. You know how many coaches don't win trophies? And I'll tell you, Poch is one of them. Most coaches don't win trophies. So if he does win a trophy and he does secure top four, you have to give credit where credit's due. whether you like it or not. Most coaches don't win trophies. Winning trophies is hard. And you know what's harder? Winning trophies while playing good football. That's even harder. So, I just feel like you need to get your priorities in the right place as a United fan. But, you're well within your right to get mad after a football game. But I just feel like some people are too short term. But anyway, score predictions.
I think we'll win. I think we have enough. I think a lot's going away. Defense, I really trust our defense at the moment. CDM, it's going well. With the link with Bruno, maybe attack is the weakest point, but I do think it'll be harder if Martial's not there. But I do think we have the goal threat from Bruno, and I think Greenwood can help out, and James can be productive if he's playing on the left.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for 2-1 United win.
2-1 United win. I can get behind that. I actually think we'll keep a clean sheet, since we got the second most clean sheets in Europe. I honestly back us to keep a clean sheet, to be honest. I'm not even living up the team's ass, because we proved
something in my head of jinx it.
Yeah, look, I don't believe in the jinx, to be honest. People who believe in the jinx, right? You do realize that when you say someone jinxed the result, what about all the other people who had other predictions? Why didn't their jinxes work? If I say United are going to win 3-0 and we lose 3-0, what about his prediction? What about all your predictions? How does this jinx thing work? So I really think I'm not going to be childish with my prediction. I think we will win 2-0. I think we can keep a clean sheet, and that's what I expect, at the very least. Hopefully it doesn't end in a 0-0 draw, because that's just a no.
Horrible.
Yeah. But anyways, please do leave a like on the video. Please do get in the comments if you're not too shy. Let us know what your opinions are on anything we said. If you disagree, that's the whole point. It's about fan opinion. We're not supposed to agree on everything, otherwise there'd be no point at all in this fan channel. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. I really do. Whatever you're up to, please do have a pleasant weekend. Peace out.